Reggie Jackson follows with a 2-run shot in the ninth. And Rich Gossage, relieving in successive games, slams the door as New York takes a 2-0 lead. Tonight, Game 3. And Game 3 in this Eastern Division playoff series of the American League between the Brewers and the Yankees is in Yankee Stadium tonight, and outside the big sign says, sold out, with the Yankees leading 2-0. And this ABC Sports exclusive is brought to you by Chevrolet, who invites you to see all the good things for 1982 at your local Chevy dealers. Chevy makes good things happen. And by Light Beer, everything you always wanted in a beer and less. In games completed in the National League today, those backed against the wall stay alive. The Phillies go home to beat Montreal 6-2. Christensen getting the decision over Barris. Montreal leads that series 2-1. Out west, the Dodgers go home and stay alive against the Houston Astros. Bert Hooton beat Nepper. The Dodgers win it 6-1. Home runs in the game, Garvey and Art Howe. Houston still leads the series 2-1. Hello again, everybody. I'm Keith Jackson. Having your back against the wall is no fun for anybody. Whereas the Dodgers and the Phillies are alive in their series after losing the first two, they went home to stay alive. The Milwaukee Brewers, down 2-0 against the Yankees, have to finish the Eastern Division of the American League Series in New York. The ball club is not healthy. Gorman Thomas fell down in the first game, hurting his throwing hand. He is the DH tonight. Can't play center field because of the sore hand. Paul Molitor, who is coming down with the flu, moves over to center field. Charlie Moore goes to right field. He's only played outfield 11 times in his career. Few times in left, most of the time in right, none in recent times. Pete Vukovich, their top pitcher, is in the city in New York tonight, just getting here an hour or so ago, but he is still struggling with the flu. Tonight they will go with a young left-hander, Randy Lurch. When a professional athlete is backed into this position, there is a rationale that he can live with. Let's pursue that point now with Howard Cosell.
Thank you, Keith, and you've spelled out the storyline for tonight very well. If you had to pick one guy, the field leader of the Milwaukee Brewers, to reflect their attitude tonight, his name, and he got 3 hits yesterday against that great Yankee pitching, would be Sal Bando. So quickly, let's go to my interview conducted just a few moments ago with the field leader of the Milwaukee Brewers, Sal Bando. In a nutshell, down 2-0. Sal, what's the attitude of this club you should know as the field leader?
Well, it's still very positive. We feel if we can get one win under our belt, it'll give us some momentum and give us some confidence and go back and take it to the Yankees like we're capable of. Obviously, if we don't, we make mistakes and don't score when we have opportunities, we'll be going home tonight.
Obviously, they have the pitching edge, though. Doesn't this kind of depress you guys?
Well, we knew that their pitching was strong. I think it's a combination of their pitching being very good and our hitting being very bad. And when you combine the two, you get the strikeouts that we've had.
How has your hitting been very bad? Drysdale said you weren't swinging the way you usually do.
I think we're chasing a lot of bad balls in situations where we should be ahead of their pitching. We're behind, be chasing bad balls. We're not concentrating. We're swinging at the pitcher's pitch. And you must make good pitching come to you or you're going to be in trouble.
You're going to avoid those habits tonight, right?
Well, we're going to try to avoid them, and if we don't, like I said, we'll be back in Milwaukee watching the playoffs on TV.
Good luck to you, Sal.
Thank you very much, Howard.
So it is with the field leader of the Milwaukee Brewers, Sal Bando, on the pitching. One of the great pitchers of all time, Don Drysdale.
Well, Howard, when you talked about the pitching, when you talk about the New York Yankee pitching in particular, you're talking about something that you just don't see anybody do to the Milwaukee Ball Club, and that is strike out 26 in 2 ball games. They have done that. And the hitting instructor, Harvey Keene, said prior to the game, and he said it tongue-in-cheek, he said, when you look at Guitry, and he is the only patsy that we've seen, meaning velocity-wise, why, he says, that's really something. But tonight, you're going to see something a little bit different. You're going to see Tommy John pitching for the New York Yankees. John, a record of 5-0, a sinker ball pitcher, puts a little on, takes a little off, and if the Milwaukee Brewers try and pull all the time, they're going to be in trouble. He will be opposed by Lurch, the left-hander for the Milwaukee Brewers, and Lurch has got to pitch an all-time gamer tonight. He's 1-1 against the New York Yankees this year, and it should be a good pitcher's battle, providing that everything is okay. But prior to the game tonight, why, it was Tommy John and Howard Cosell who had a chance to talk things over, and we're going to listen to that conversation right after this commercial timeout.
John Omarsh Jr.
Tom, as you know, you're 5-0 against the Brewers as a Yankee. How do you account for your apparent mastery over them?
I think one thing, Howard, is I came back over here with a good ball club. And I can recall the first time I ever faced the Brewers was my first year with the Yankees, 1979. My first time out on Yankee Stadium turf as a free agent. My first 5 pitches as a Yankee were balls, and the fans were already screaming for Steinbrenner that he had overpaid me. And then that day I saw what Yankee Stadium was like. Robin Yount and I think it was Gorman Thomas hit 2 tremendous drives. One that Rivers caught at the 350 mark, and the other one was a double in right center field. And, you know, and in Dodger Stadium, those were both out. But as far as being a mastery over a certain team, I think there's certain teams or certain hitters give me trouble, and they might hit 500 off me and 110 in the league. There's no explanation for it.
Well, Lim has a good reason for having saved you for tonight. He said, with the stadium turf much less solid or concrete-like than the turf in Brewers Stadium, your sinker would be much more effective.
Well, when I'm pitching effectively, I can pitch on Fifth Avenue, and it really doesn't make a lot of difference if I pitch. I've also found now that there's, if that's the case, then there's the 4th ballpark that I can't pitch in next year during the season. The other 3 being Kansas City, Seattle, and Toronto. Now with Minnesota going to AstroTurf, so now there's 5 ballparks. So that only leaves me with maybe 6 more to pitch for. You know, and that's going to be maybe 10, 15 days between starts with that logic.
You're feeling pretty loose and relaxed and confident, aren't you?
Well, I'm feeling, I think I can pitch well. And if I go out and throw the ball the way I'm capable, and if the Yankees play the way we're capable of playing, I think we have a very good chance of beating this ball club. And the thing about it, you can't give the Brewers an inch because they have a very, very good ball club, Howard.
Thank you very much. Good luck today, Tommy. We'll be back at Yankee Stadium in just one moment.
As I mentioned a moment ago, it's sold out outside Yankee Stadium. It is getting cooler as the hours pass by. It was a rather warm day here in New York today, considering. And just a few minutes ago, we had a special ceremony before the large crowd honoring Corporal William James, the nation's 2nd highest military award, the Distinguished Service Cross, awarded posthumously in his name to his wife, Lucille Peg James, with their sons, Larry, Ed, Doug, and Gary, all standing by. The presentation made by the Secretary of the Army in recognition of the heroism of Corporal William James in Belgium during the Second World War. Secretary of the Army John O. Marsh, Jr. making the presentation. The umpires and the managers are still meeting in the center of the field. The dimensions at Yankee Stadium, 312 down the left side. Then you run into a lot of acreage. Out in left center, 430, they call it Death Valley. Center field, 417, 385 to the right. The short porch at Yankee Stadium is down the right side, 353 straight away, and 310 down the line. Ken Kaiser standing there tonight talking with Buck Rogers, manager of Milwaukee, noting the ground rules, and now the New York Yankees come out of their dugout, taking the field. Here in New York, like in Milwaukee, they play on good old Mother Earth. And walking out to sing the national anthem is a considerable tradition here at this ballpark. One of the great voices in the world.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Robert Merrill.
We direct your attention to the microphone near home plate. And now, to honor America, let's join with Robert Merrill as he sings our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, those broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight? For the ramparts we watched was so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the hope of the brave?
That's worth the price of the ticket, isn't it? Sure is. We have another little special moment about to occur here at Yankee Stadium. Young Travis John is going to throw out the first ball. Travis, I'm sure many of you heard, was injured quite severely when he fell out of a second-story window. His mom, Sally, walking there with him, Reggie Jackson holding his hand as he walks out. There was a time when it appeared the little guy might not be able to shake off all of the injuries he suffered, and you can see he has, bearing the resiliency, I guess, that he inherited from his competitive dad and his beautiful mom. When it happened, Tommy said, if any one of our boys is going to get in trouble, it's going to be Travis, because we had trouble keeping him in the crib after he was 3 months old. There's the first pitch. Received over 2,000 letters when this youngster was injured, from President Reagan on down through the venues of America. Well, he may be a right-hander, but it looks like he's a competitor, doesn't it? Travis John, son of Tommy and Sally.
Now the starting lineups for the Brewers: Paul Molitor leading off, Robin Yount batting second, Cecil Cooper batting third, Ted Simmons fourth. The DH tonight, Gorman Thomas. Keith explained that. Then comes Ben Ogilvy having a tough series. Then comes the great pro, Sal Bando. And after that, playing right field, Charlie Moore. And then comes Jim Gantner, the tough scrapper. Keith?
The Yankees defensively will be the same as they have been, with Big Bob Watson over at first base. Down at second base will be Willie Randolph, and the Yankee defense has been virtually impeccable so far. Larry Milburn will be at shortstop, and one of the great gloves in the game today over at third base in Greg Nettles. And Nettles will be interesting to watch offensively tonight because he is in his favorite hitting part. Big Dave Winfield will be in left field, and he handles it so very well out there. Out in center field, covering the rest of that South 40, is Jerry Mumphrey. And in right field, Reggie Jackson. Behind the plate, Rick Cerrone, and Cerrone has made 2 great catches already in this playoff series, one in each game. And on the mound, Tommy John, who has not lost to these Milwaukee Brewers since he came back to the American League. He is 5-0. He has, however, pitched only 3 innings over the last 13 days. And Don Drysdale, sometimes when a sinker baller has that much rest, the ball doesn't sink as much as it often does. Earlier, Howard Cosell, visiting with Tommy John, talked with him and asked him to characterize himself. What kind of a pitcher, he asked, are you?
Tommy, in capsule form, characterize yourself as a pitcher.
Howard, I think I get the most out of what I have. I throw the ball a little harder than what people think I do, and I have a little better curveball than what people think that I have. And when you put it all together, you've got 18 years in the big leagues with about 225 wins.
Now to the point with Don Drysdale about a sinker baller having a lot of rest.
Well, the big thing about that, Keith, is that you have a tendency to be too strong. And really, sinker ballers, they'll all tell you that sometimes they will be more effective when they're a little tired or as a reliever when they get in a lot of work on consistent days. And that's what Tommy John has to think about tonight. If he has only pitched a few innings, he lost his last start to the Baltimore Orioles in the regular season. He's got to caution himself. Cerrone's got to caution himself and say, hey, and realize it early. Back off a little bit. Don't be trying to overpower anybody. You're not Guidry. You're not Gossage. And you're not the people at Davis's that we've seen in Righetti's. You're Tommy John, and let's go to Tommy John's game, which is sinker, curveball, puts a little on, takes a little off.
And he pitches now to Paul Molitor. Molitor playing center field, remember, tonight, in the place of Gorman Thomas. And the first pitch is a breaking ball in for a strike. Molitor is 1 for 8 in the series. Ball is punched to the right side, and it drops in there for a base hit in front of Reggie Jackson. So Milwaukee opens the ball game, getting the leadoff man aboard.
If you're going to be successful against a sinker ball pitcher, and especially against Tommy John, you can't stand up there and say pull, pull, pull. You can't do that because you're going to wear Nettles and Milbourne out. That's all you're going to do. A sinker baller, you got to take him back through the middle or hit it to the opposite field, and you've already seen that with Molitor. I know that that's what the Brewers are thinking. That's their game plan tonight.
Robin Yount 1 for 7 and a run batted in the series, and he fouls the first pitch off upstairs.
You gave the dimension in right field. It's only 310 feet down the right field line, and then to straightaway right, it's only 353. There's the Death Valley you're looking at, but all of a sudden, that green wall comes into play, and the right-handers on Milwaukee can certainly reach that wall.
Sharp shot, foul ball, just foul, down the third base line.
I might add, if you want to get to Tommy John, get to him early.
Oh, that's any great pitcher, Howard. That's the greatest thing. I think it's a tribute to any pitcher when that is a key, a line, that the tag that they hang on him. If you're going to get to him early. And I think that shows respect for a pitcher.
Molitor edges off first. Yount hits the ball sharply to Milbourne at shortstop. They've got one at second. Back to first. Double. No! Watson dropped the ball. Ball squirted right out of Bobby's glove.
Well, that's exactly what we were talking about. You're going to wear Milbourne or Nettles out. Now, here you see Molitor. He's going to come down. He's going to come in hard, but they have a chance to double play. He's not bothering Randolph one bit. That throws out of the way. Actually, all he does is just close the glove. He closed the glove before he gets the ball.
So, some degree of chagrin scarring the soul of Bob Watson at first base as he has committed an error in letting the ball pop out of his glove or closed it too soon.
For the second baseman, error on the first baseman.
That voice you hear in the background is the public address system here in the press box at Yankee Stadium, and we can't figure out how to turn it off.
I really don't think it's necessary.
Cecil Cooper now is up there. Coop is 2 for 7 in the series so far, hitting in number 3 position, the Milwaukee first baseman. There are your weather conditions, 51 degrees, good humidity, wind mild, and cloudy. They started clear. Cooper swings and misses on a breaking pitch for strike 1 with 1 out and Molitor on first base.
Be interesting to see if the Watson error costs. The Yankees' only failures were in the first game of this series when they kept leaving men on third with less than 2 out. The errors in the field have really been committed by the Milwaukee Brewers, both of commission and omission.
Swinging foul at the plate. John's the edge now at 0-2. Bob Lemon, everything Bob's done so far has worked for him, except possibly the insertion of Ron Davis into yesterday's ball game.
It's awful nice, though, to know that if it doesn't quite work out, you've got the goose behind you. As you look at Bob Rogers in the opposing dugout.
That's a classy guy, Buck Rogers. Haven't heard much about him. But he's forthright.
Pitch is outside.
Knows what he's about, and he's unafraid.
When Tommy John throws that breaking pitch to a right-hander or a left-hander, now it doesn't look like it's going to do much. It does not have a lot of velocity. All it does is just keep breaking in on the right-hander and away from the left-hander.
That's what Tommy said. His curve has more than you think.
Cooper stays alive with a foul tip at the plate.
Tommy John reminds me so much of the style of Whitey Ford. It's unbelievable. Both that kind of stiff arm motion, the front leg kicked, stiff leg coming up, stiff right leg coming up, and both really kind of the same style pitchers.
Another thing that perhaps gives Tommy an edge is the infield here at Yankee Stadium is not as hard as the infield at Milwaukee as Molitor goes and Cooper fouls at the plate.
Which was one of the reasons, as Lem pointed out to Drysdale yesterday, that he saved Tommy for the night.
Well, they've got the softer grass, and let's take a look at Tommy John. Not a real good move to first base. The leg kick not that high. But there it is. Everything is compact, and he knows what he's doing at all times.
What do you mean by the leg kick not that high?
It wasn't that high. Not like you see the other pitchers. No comparison.
How does the high leg kick help?
Well, the high leg kick, all that does is give a runner about an extra step and a half. That's a runner at first base trying to steal.
Sets up on the outside. And Cooper hits it sharply to Randolph. Over to Milburn. One back to first. They do get the double play and get out of the inning. So young Travis clapping as his dad escapes here. The leadoff man Molitor gets aboard. The Yankees miss a double play opportunity when Watson drops the ball at first, but this time they make it work. And after a half an inning, the Brewers are scoreless. The Yankees coming up.
Starting lineup for the Yankees. Willie Randolph with 2 hits yesterday leading off. Steady going Jerry Mumphrey batting second. Dave Winfield 3 hits yesterday batting third. Reggie Jackson the big blast yesterday. Then Lou Piniella the key home run yesterday. Greg Nettles who simply kills Randy Lurch. Then Bob Watson. And after him Larry Milburn the pleasant surprise. And finally having a great series Rick Cerone.
Defensively, Cecil Cooper is at first base. He's been steady there during this series. And Jim Gantner, the second baseman for the Milwaukee Brewers. Over at shortstop, Robin Yount. Robin had some trouble in that first game with handling the ball. Down at third base, Sal Bando. He may be a big man before this game is over. Key man. Ben Ogilvie tonight is in left field. But here are your changes now. Paul Molitor moves over from right into center, replacing Gorman Thomas. And catcher Charlie Moore goes into right field. Behind the plate, Ted Simmons. And on the mound, Randy Lurch. He pitched well during the stretch run by the Brewers. He was 3-1 in his last 5 times out. But he has a tendency sometimes to get behind. When that happens, he gets rattled around.
Now, the big thing with Lurch, I think, right now, Keith, is that he's got more confidence in his slider. That's what Cal McLeish says. He'll throw it a lot more.
He's 1-1 on the leadoff man, Willie Randolph.
Over at Philadelphia, before coming to Milwaukee, had problems with a breaking pitch and was primarily a one-pitch pitcher, a fastball pitcher.
He's ahead at 1-2. Left-handers, however, have been particularly effective this season against Lurch. They've hit .367 against him.
We watched him pitch the last 2 games of his regular season. One against Detroit, very effective. He got beat in the ball game, but pitched very well. And then coming back last Sunday to close out the season against the Tigers, did not pitch that well at all. So he's got to put it all together.
Got Randolph on a pitch. Ball strike 3 by Ken Kaiser, and Willie doesn't like it.
Well, he put it right out there on the outside corner. And I think Randolph might have thought it was a little low, but we've talked about it before in the previous games. Jim Palmer's talked about it. The strike zone is coming down in the American League.
Jerry Mumphrey now, 2 for 9. Both of his hits came as a left-handed batter. He's a switch hitter. He's 0 for 4 right-handed in the 2 games.
The Goose, who still hangs high.
One to Mumphrey. 1 out, nobody on. To the shortstop, Yount. 2 down.
That ball almost came right up the arm of Robin Yount. He made a good play to stay with that ball. Here's another look at it. You see it's just a routine ground ball, but then all of a sudden, boom, look out. You see a lot of shortstops lose that one. I like to see Ted Simmons talk to the umpire because you've got to go out and establish something in an umpire's mind. You've got to say, now, Ken, I want you to be alive. You might see a different Randy Lerch tonight. We've got to keep the ball down. Our backs to the wall. He's not going to be all over, but he's going to be throwing low strikes. So stay with us. Don't think of any other Randy Lerch except what you see tonight and how he establishes himself. He just quit on that pitch. Just flipped it up there.
Gorman Thomas, he's had a tough time this series, as Keith explained, hurt his hand, DH tonight.
There's one of those low strikes, 1-1 the count. Now, Gorman Thomas actually injured that hand trying to make that diving catch, if you recall, over at County Stadium in Milwaukee. His right hand rolled underneath me. Boy, it's puffed, too.
Shot past the third baseman, Bando, down the line to the corner. Winfield rounds one, headed for two, and he'll stand at second base.
We talked about that fellow yesterday. He was submerged in terms of publicity by all the money he got. But I'll tell you, in his own day in, day out way, you just can't overestimate the value of this man as an athlete.
Sal had no chance.
Had no chance. That ball hit too hard. And right down the line, left field umpire Dale Ford stayed with it all the way to make sure that a fan did not touch it.
Reggie, a two-run homer yesterday. Outside, ball one.
Remember what Keith told you about Lerch against left-handed hitters. This season, they mauled him, batting .367. Last season in the National League, left-handers hit .351 against Lerch. So somewhere along the way, he will find trouble with them if the past is prologue.
Biggest thing on Randy Lerch, he's got to remember to keep that body working on him. He has a tendency to get a lazy body, and when you do that, you start getting your pitches up. Reggie broke his bat on that one. He just sawed it off, stuck it right in on his thumb. And he really had some drive into that last pitch, Keith. He really came at him real good. And he's got to remember to do the same thing on the breaking pitch. There's what Reggie's done against Randy Lerch so far this year.
Yeah, but the thing that happens so many times with so many pitchers, Don, is they'll work so hard against a fellow like a Jackson or a Winfield or somebody like that. But then somewhere along the way, the concentration breaks down. They don't work as hard against somebody else. And how?
That's it. All of a sudden, hypothetically, a Larry Milbourne walks up there and bam, hits a double in the gap somewhere. Here's a good fastball to Reggie, and he does get it in there, right in his kitchen. Goes and gets a bat with a new handle on it.
Count on Jackson with Winfield at second base and two out. A little low. 2-1.
Even in the new low ball lead.
Well, it looks like most of the folks are in the house now, and it's pretty close to being full. 2-1. High in the air, left side. Ogilvie. Then makes the catch, and the inning is over. So both teams have some action, but we come up scoreless after one. Back with more after this word from our local stations. We noted at the beginning of this series, it's the first time ever for the Milwaukee Brewers in the playoff, and some of the players have been around a while. They're first as well, including Ted Simmons.
A great fulfillment, finally, after all the years, to be with a winner.
Well, it's something I've waited all my life to do, and people have always looked to me and said, well, you know, Banks played forever and never got a chance to play in it. It looked like that's the direction I was headed, but, you know, if you just be patient and work hard and try and do the best you can, things work out when the timing's right. I'm here now, and I feel really good about it. Again, it's the biggest thing that happened to me in my whole career. I've certainly waited longer for this than anything else.
Pre-game comments of Ted Simmons on being here in the playoffs. 2 for 7 in the series with 1 run batted in, and Tommy John gets a strike on him. That one's low and away. Teddy, of course, in St. Louis with the Cardinals for several years. High to right center. And making the call of the catch is Jerry Mumphrey for 1 out.
Number 20.
Well, you can grow a lot of corn out there in center, from right center to left.
Designated hitter. Number 20.
That's what's going on at this moment in the American League Western Division Series, and Kansas City's got to win to stay alive tonight as well. There was a possibility going into today's game that every series in the playoffs could end today and tonight. But National League people want to play tomorrow. Tommy John pitching now to Gorman Thomas. When Gorman was taking batting practice tonight, every time he swung the bat and hit the ball, he shook that right hand. It hurt him. He did not have the capacity for gripping the ball sufficiently to throw it. That's why he is the designated hitter. 1-1. He did put some in the bullpen, the Yankee bullpen, during batting practice. That bites the corner. 1-2. Sal Bando, helmet on, hoping he gets a chance, or he will get a chance as the number 3 man, but he's hoping he's got somebody out there looking back at him. Thomas pulls it foul.
Well, he was talking to Ted Simmons, who just flew out to the center fielder, Mumphrey. And what he's doing right there, he's just checking to see how's he throwing, what's he doing, how the kind of velocity does he have. And hitters will do that as they come back onto the bench. They will try and find out, is this the same guy that we're used to seeing? Is he not throwing quite as well, or is he maybe throwing a little bit harder than usual?
And most importantly is the sinker sinking.
That's right. And most importantly for Tommy John, too, is the sinker sinking.
Gorman Thomas at 1-2 with 1 out. 2-2.
He's a surgeon out there. He's not going to pitch you one way all the time. You move it in and out. Every now and then he'll back you off the plate, move it up and in.
Ball is hit in the air and hit well to deep left center field. Mumphrey, though, has room at the track, makes the catch.
That is what they call Death Valley. That would have been out in Milwaukee County Stadium. Gone. It's what Tommy John has talked so much about.
He did not get all of that ball either, Howard. He got that out on the end of the bat. John got that pitch up a little bit over the plate. And that is definitely the best ball that he has hit throughout the course of this series.
Here's Ogilvy now, who has been collared. 0 for 8. You look in now from center field. Watch after the sign is given. You watch Rick Cerrone. He'll go down on his right knee. Tommy John wants his catcher down on his knee because he thinks it presents a more favorable circumstance for the low strike. Didn't do it that time, did before. Here's the roller out to the third baseman, Nettles by Ogilvy, and Greg throws him out. So Tommy John gets the Milwaukee Brewers in order in the top of the second. No score. Lou Piniella will lead it off for the Yankees in the bottom of the second. He has a home run yesterday. Greg Nettles will follow, and then Bob Watson. Most identifiable mustache in America by now, isn't it? Raleigh Finger. Lurch comes high to Piniella, and it's 2 balls and no strikes. Mike Ferrara, the coach at first. Joe Altobelli, the coach at second for the Yankees. 3 balls and no strikes. Lou has his partisans here. 3-1. Hit to the right side. Here's Charlie Moore's first test. Drops the ball. Drops the ball. Ran into the wall, and it came loose. That's a catcher playing right field.
Well, you couldn't have asked for a tougher play either the first time they have a ball hit to you. And now they're going to say the ball was foul, and Pinella's going to come back. Here you see Charlie Moore.
Oh, that ball's not foul.
And that's a fair ball, I believe. But also, you've got the right field umpire, Dale Ford, right there. And Pinella's going to come back. He made the call. Mike Ferraro making a little slight protest down there, becoming more and more.
Well,
it's not where the fielder is at the time that he touches a ball. It's where the umpire thinks that ball would have landed. Now here we go again. If it's fair, if he juggles the ball, it's in the umpire's discretion of how long.
Oh, come on.
Both of his feet are clearly
that
inside
appears
the line.
like it. That could be very well.
Come on,
called
let's
a fair
lay it
ball.
on the line. That's an absurdly wrong call. The umpire lost his head. The first base umpire is Dave Phillips, who was 38 yesterday, and maybe the years are telling on him.
That's not him's call, Howard. It's a
That's right.
field.
It's Dale Ford, who was behind the plate yesterday afternoon. So the whole thing was a mess, period.
There's another one to right. Oh, Charlie's got a little more room this time, and he makes the catch.
In the meantime, the weakness of having a catcher in right field, occasioned by Gorman Thomas's damaged hand and moving Molitor over to center field, manifested itself on that play. Tomorrow, there it is. Oklahoma against Texas. And if necessary, you'll see either Milwaukee against the Yankees or the Kansas City Royals against the A's.
The batter is Greg Nettles. Nettles against Lurch. 5 for 6, including a double and 2 home runs during the season. High and tight. 2 balls and no strikes.
Don, the reason I brought the first base umpire into it is he had the right to go out there and talk to the right field umpire. But he didn't.
Only if they appealed it to him.
Breaking pitch, 3 balls, no strikes.
And I think it was Ferraro's discussion with the right field umpire. Look at that. You think he doesn't? You fellas were talking
Eats him
about
up.
that.
Walking.
And Lurch knew it.
Now, Bob Watson, 3 for 7 in the series.
Number 28, Bob Watson, first base. Number 28.
Ball 1. Milwaukee defense is set up with their center fielder Molitor playing Watson toward right center. He has 3 acres between left field and center field. There's a strike.
Ogilvie, Keith, is off the line and left, and he's to the center field side of the 387 marker. They know that if he's going to pull the ball down the line, it's going to be a double anyway, but try and cut something off to the alley or to straightaway center or right center. Goes to the right side with it, and that one is going to be out of play.
We've talked about our jug gun the last 2 nights when the Yankees struck out Yankee pitchers, 26 Milwaukee batters, nothing but heat. Randy Lurch threw 1 pitch at 89 miles per hour. The fastest pitch other than that, 87 miles per hour.
Charlie's going to come in to Lurch into this inning as he goes over to retrieve somebody's cap or something. Looks like he's going to come over and say, hey, don't let those guys hit that ball out there too often.
Yeah. Make him pull it, will you? And then Sal Bando saying over at third base, hey, make him hit it the other way, will you?
That's a tough position Charlie Moore is in tonight. I mean, a tough spot. 2-2.
What makes it so tough is that balls hit down the line. Number one here, you're running right into the foul line and right into the wall. And you've got that ball all the time coming off the bat of a right-hander to right field. It's slicing away.
Nettles goes. The throw by Simmons. He's out. Somebody missed the sign?
I believe so. Just kind of looking at Joe Altobelli down at third base. His shoulders just kind of dropped as Watson looked down there. But the throw was there plenty of time. And yeah, just a nice little tag, and that's it. I believe there very well could have been a sign missed. You look at a third base coach, and a lot of times they'll tell you about that. They'll just kind of look up in the air and try and find some birds flying around, or look down at the ground and kick the ground a little bit, stand there, put their hands in their pocket, turn their back to the dugout. If it's Billy Martin and Boyer, Clete Boyer, Billy will yell at him.
Watson walks.
A funny inning right here.
Yes, it is. Had to be a missed sign. Otherwise, makes no sense.
And that ball down the right field line that Piniella hit.
Now it is Larry Milburn to take a look at Randy Lurch. Strike ball. Got that one up to 89. Hit in the air to the right side. A lot of room this time for Charlie Moore. And he makes his second catch of the inning. So the Yankees are turned away after 2 innings of play. No score. It has not been a year to remember for the big guy playing first base for the New York Yankees, Bob Watson. And before the ball game, Howard Cosell talked with Bob about 1981.
Bob, it's been just a terrible season to live through, hasn't it?
Howard, I tell you what, I had hoped that I could go through a career without having a year like this. It started opening day, hurt myself, tore adductor muscle, and tried to do a little bit too much with it, tried to play with it, and it just created a situation that I couldn't turn around. Fortunately and unfortunately, the strike came along, and I got a chance to heal up a little bit. Started going pretty good the second half, and another injury comes along, and so it's been a year of injuries. This is the first year, I guess, since 1968 where I didn't have a real good year.
For the Brewers, it's Sal Bando, Charlie Moore, and Jim Gantner. And the count on Bando at the plate against Tommy John, 2 balls and no strikes.
This ball hit hard, but it's not that far away from Nettles. It's hooking right back at him, number one. And Craig just has to go down. He goes down on the knee just to make that ball on the same play. Not make a tough play out of it, make it a routine play.
Here's Charlie. Was the DH in the first 2 games. Has been baptized already tonight in right field.
You know, I think it tells you a little bit about Charlie Moore, too, Keith. It tells you that he can move around a little bit.
Yep, sure does. This is what happened in the National League today. The Dodgers stay alive with a 6-1 win as Houghton beat Nepper, and Philadelphia beat Montreal in Philadelphia 6-2. There's the situation on Charlie Moore. He's not terribly familiar with the right field area anywhere, and most especially here. Charlie's from Alabama, Birmingham. He was about set to go down to Auburn and play football. So he cast his lot with the Milwaukee Brewers. Now 3-1 to him.
A lot of people in baseball like to have Charlie Moore as their #1 catcher.
Holds it toward the hole. Milborn's over there. Larry's throw is in time. Close. Pretty good arm on Mr. Milburn there.
He had to put a little something on it.
He has really played such a steady game at shortstop thus far this series.
Watch Watson. Look at Bobby stretch out.
Yep. Evidencing to a national public why Milburn has been so effective as Bucky Dent's replacement since Bucky was injured.
Here's Jim Gentner.
He may move to New York from Seattle.
No.
Look, old-timer.
It's low and away.
Touchdowns in the sky, old-timer.
Comes inside with that one. Make it 2 balls and no strikes. Greg Nettles comes over for a word. Goes after the breaking pitch and fouls it off. That's what the ball game looks like from where the right fielder's working.
Reggie with glasses.
You have to stomp around every once in a while sometimes when these pitchers get going and get things in control to stay in the game. Bob Watson backhands it nicely and makes the play himself to retire Gentner. So let's see. Tommy John gets him in order in the second, gets him in order again here in the third. And a double play in the first inning helped him out of a bit of a rough spot. And so we are in the middle of the third inning at Yankee Stadium with no score. Rick Cerrone, the New York catcher, coming to the plate. And then we'll start the second time around the Yankee batting order with Willie Randolph and Jerry Mumphrey. And Randy Lurch comes high to Cerrone. Rick in the ball game, the series, 2 for 7 with 2 runs batted in. But I mentioned earlier he has made 2 great plays, 1 in each game. Climbed up that screen yesterday and flicked that thing right off the wire. Come down with it for the final out. 1-1, the count.
You should have heard him in the Yankee dugout describing that ball coming back. I was down there and getting ready to do the interviews at the end, and Yogi was saying, "It's coming back. It's coming back." Clyde King says, "You're right, Yogi. Here it comes. Here it comes. It's coming back. I'm telling you, it's coming back." Of course, any ball hit up behind home plate will have a tendency to come back towards the playing field.
Ooh, there's a bullet, but it's foul.
The conversation between Clyde King and Yogi Berra on that foul ball was priceless. There's Yogi.
There is the man more spontaneously articulate than any other man in the chronicle of English literature.
Well, there's Charlie getting exercised again in right field, but he makes the catch.
I'm beginning to think they're looking for Charlie.
Yeah, I bet he does too. You know, a funny thing about this game, you get somebody out there that's having a bad year, or things just aren't working right, making a lot of errors, or you try and put somebody in an odd position, and you know, there's this old saying, the ball will always find them. And somewhere along the line it does that.
Second time around now for Randolph, and he beats it on the ground toward Gentner. And Jim throws him out for the second out.
I must say, Lurch is proceeding with dispatch. And he's not throwing very hard. He's getting them out, which is what matters.
And, of course, as both people go along, the longer they get them out, the more confidence they build.
What happened yesterday with Caldwell.
Mumphrey up, takes a strike. I think it matters not what Lurch does so much as Milwaukee getting into the process of scoring some runs.
It's amazing that when you look at these Milwaukee Brewers through the course of a year and to see how their bats have just been silenced. There's the last pitch, a 92-mile-an-hour fastball. So
he's cranking up, isn't he?
He's humping up a little bit. You're right.
He's got a 2-strike count now on Mumphrey. Jerry said, wait a minute, that ain't the same kind of size ball I hit the last time I was up here. Pitch is low there, 1-1. Dave Winfield is on deck with 2 outs. Toward the first baseman, Cecil Cooper. So, look here. Randy Lurch blows him away in the bottom of the 3rd inning. So after 3 at Yankee Stadium, no score between the Brewers and the Yankees. I'm not sure I know exactly what that means.
Probably an allusion to the shifting of Ferraro after the call last year that sent Randolph home in the playoff game against Kansas City. But no matter, George will have new things to say about right field umpire Dale Ford. He has seen the replay of his call on Pinella's fly to right in the 2nd inning.
Molitor up for Milwaukee, 2nd time around for the Brewers now. Gets Tommy John with Yount to follow, and then Cooper. Maybe it's because George was an assistant coach at Northwestern and Purdue.
But that was in football.
Well, that doesn't matter. It is football season.
His club president is Lou Saban.
2 balls and no strikes. There's 1, 2-1.
It was Lou decided O.J. Simpson was ill-cast as a wide receiver.
Right side foul out of play.
You're trying to figure that one out, huh?
No, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Louisiana Lightning, at peace with himself, knows he made a mistake in the first game.
Toward the hole and in there. So the Milwaukee Brewers, Paul Molitor has his 2nd hit off Tommy John. Brewers have the leadoff man aboard here in the top of the 4th inning.
Now that's the Molitor we know from all season long when he's healthy. 2 for 2. One of the peskiest hitters in the American League.
Just before that pitch, Nettles moved over a little bit to his right. Otherwise, I believe that Pig might come up with that ball. He was looking for a pitch in a different location.
Molitor goes on the first pitch. It's tapped back to the mound. John has to go to first with it. So Yount moves him along.
They're playing hit and run. They're just trying to steal a run somewhere. They're trying to make something happen. They have not made it happen with their bats. There's Tommy John right there. Shows you a little story about Tommy John in the middle innings. Interesting. That's right where we're at.
Cecil Cooper.
One of the key moments yesterday. Goose Gossett striking out this really exceptional hitter in that key inning when the Goose came on with the bases filled and only 1 out. Got Yount to pop out and then struck out the big one.
And John gets a strike on the corner, outside corner against Coop. Cecil hit into a double play to end the 1st inning.
Well, they have really silenced some bats in this lineup. Cooper, Thomas, Ogilvy.
Up till now.
That one's a little outside. 26 Brewers struck out the first 2 games. So far, nobody tonight. But then Tommy John is not a strikeout pitcher. Goes over the pitcher's head, out to the second baseman Randolph. 2 down as Molitor moves over to third.
So Ted Simmons comes up. And as we have told you, his .216 season's average utterly deceptive. A truly fine hitter. One of the better hitters in the big leagues. Switch hitter. And he had, 12 game-winning hits? 61 RBIs.
He's the only catcher I know who was, and as far as I know still is, on the board of directors at the St. Louis Art Museum. Do you know any other catchers on the board of the Art Museum? Pitch is just outside.
Not since Bubble Hargrove won the National League batting championship in the early 30s, but that's a...
2 balls and no strikes. Just outside. 3 balls and no strikes now to Ted Simmons. 2 out. Molitor at third.
He is being careful with this guy, you can see.
You might see a green light here, Keith. Yep. 3-0. I wouldn't be surprised. Gorman Thomas is on deck. Outside, walked him.
You can see Tommy John was thinking the same thing. He wasn't just going to throw a strike. He wanted a perfect strike.
Now Stormin Gorman, who's had a terrible series thus far, but on his last at bat, hit one deep into Death Valley. Mumphrey, of course, ran it down, but he is looking to put one away.
Remember, however, that right hand is swollen and very tender. So sore, he is not playing center field because he simply can't grip the ball well enough to throw it. That's the top hand. That's your power hand. Pitch is outside for ball 1. Outfield is deep and straight away for Thomas. The inside corner for 1-1. That looked like a running fastball.
It'll run in there as you look at Molitor at third and Simmons at first. He gets it on the inside. It'll come back over the plate, Keith. And of course, away from the right-hander, it'll tail out.
First trouble Tommy's had.
2-1. You really don't want to give Thomas that much to hit, and Tommy John, regardless if he loads the bases, he's got 2 outs. He's got the left-hand hitter Ogilvy coming right up behind. But you get something from the middle of the plate in and fall behind Gorman Thomas. That 312 down the left field line is not, it certainly is not unreachable.
Looked like it was a little high. 3-1. Well, get a hold of your seat cushion now.
That's where a sinker ball pitcher will really fool an umpire. When you're consistently low, you got to pitch down low, and all of a sudden he comes inside a little bit. But for Tommy John, that is a high pitch. Yes, it is. He doesn't want to throw him up there. He wants him from the knees down if he can.
Get out to right center field. Reggie Jackson going hard. Dives, slides, comes up with it. Good play by Reggie. And so Gorman Thomas bids for a base hit in right center. Jackson takes it away from him, and the Brewers are turned away. They had base runners at first and third with 2 out. And so they lead 2. And after 3.5 innings of play, the score remains 0-0. Jackson being greeted by his teammates as he comes to the dugout. Dave Winfield. Numbers you see during the playoffs, a healthy 5 for 10 at the plate, followed by Reggie Jackson and Lou Piniella. And this, of course, is their second look now at Randy Lurch. No score in the ball game. The Yankees at bat in the bottom of the 4th inning. Milwaukee has 2 base hits. New York 1. Lurch in there with a strike.
Lurch has been a surprise thus far. Extremely effective, looking better. But it's only 3 innings. We'll have to see. Winfield, the more you see him, the more you respect him. Solid.
Number down the right side. It's foul. Good thing.
Well, that's all right, Dale. That one was foul.
No way in the world anybody's going to get to it if it had stayed fair.
Nobody's perfect. He's 1 for 2.
You know, Howard, you were talking about Dave Winfield, and I never had a chance to watch him that much when he was down at San Diego. You heard about him, of course. But I've had a chance to see him a lot in the American League, and I've got to just second what you said. The more you see Dave Winfield, the more you appreciate his talent, and the more you realize what a fine ball player that he is.
Playing in the toughest ballpark in the big leagues. For him, Death Valley staring him in the face, but he kept coming through.
Lurch comes with some heat this time and takes it inside to make it 1-2. That's his hottest pitch of the night, 92 miles an hour, according to our little Jugs gun.
Came from the Phillies, Milwaukee in desperate quest for a fourth starter, or a fifth, possibly.
A shut up the middle base hit.
See what I mean?
Winfield now, a double and a single.
There's a case of just overpowering a baseball. That pitch is in a good location inside, jams him, and look at how he just fights that ball off of him. That is just sheer power and muscle right there.
Remember, this man is a superb runner, too, Keith.
Yes, he is. He's 6'6".
Takes one stride, he goes 12 feet. Like a man whom you talked about in '76 in Montreal. He runs like Alberto Wantarina.
He will run, too.
Oh, yes, he'll run. You got to keep an eye on him. Don't put anything past him.
Funniest thing I ever saw was Jackson down on the track in the Great Olympic Stadium in Montreal in underwear running with Wantarina.
Well, you might be back up in Montreal the way things are going for the World Series.
Might be.
If you should be there or here or someplace in a similar latitude, you won't have to change your mucklucks.
Oakland got another run, leading Kansas City 2-0. Billy Ball momentarily in charge.
If they win tonight, that series is over. The A's winning 2 at Kansas City.
And if the Yankees should win, think of the Yankees going against Billy Martin. What a series that would be.
The pitch to Reggie Jackson is low and away for ball 1.
You've watched Randy Lurch. If you look at Lou Piniella on deck, go over to first base a couple of times just to put a little thought in Dave Winfield's mind. He does not have a real good move to first base at all.
Good pitch. Really good pitch.
Took a little off, dropped it in.
Reggie'd like to have it back. I know that. I'd like to have you tell me that's coming. I'll guarantee I won't take the next one.
Be in the upper deck. Winfield aboard, leading off the 4th inning for the Yankees. No score in the ball game. Dave has both New York hits. Popped him up. Simmons coming back. On the screen.
You can run for a while here at Yankee Stadium unless you know the confines of this ballpark. You better get back to the screen. There's a lot of room here in foul ground behind home plate. They always told the great stories about Bill Dickey when he'd just be able to sit down there, a ball would go up. He knew exactly where it was at all times. He knew, do I have to go run and get it, or will it be up on the net?
The count 1-2 on Jackson. Low, ball 2.
Beautiful pitch.
Reggie, I think, looking for the breaking pitch, and he just came with that heater and got it in a good spot. Look at that, right over the outside corner.
He really outguessed Reggie all the way in that turn at bat. The earlier pitch on the inside that you referred to, Don, and then that one.
Piniella up now, the DH. With Winfield on first. One out. Nettles moves out to the on-deck circle.
I think Lou's changed his mind about retiring.
Foul ball.
He's a master at bat manipulation. You just saw him trying to go to right field.
It's kind of funny when you get down playing for the big dollars, you forget about dog days, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
And the back hurts and the legs hurt and the sun's hot. Pitch is outside. 1-1.
Bob Rogers tonight. Of course, there is no tomorrow. Sal Bando told Howard that prior to the game. He will go with staff tonight if he has to. He's got to get here tomorrow to start with.
Wants to get ahead in 6 innings, as you said yesterday. These two teams. There it goes.
Canella hits it out to Charlie Moore in right field.
You know, that time at bat, Keith, he was trying to go to right field all the way. Looked like it. The first pitch he fouled off, he was trying to go over there.
The third baseman.
Charlie Morris now had 4 putouts.
This is a guy to watch out for, Keith. Nettles has been hitless thus far in the playoffs, but he's got a record of killing Lurch. 5 for 6. Keith referred to it earlier, including a double and 2 home runs.
Randy walked him the last time. Or the first time. He's high with it.
As you noted, Don, between these two teams, it's a 6-inning game. Team ahead going into the late innings. It's Gossage against Fingers.
Oh, it's tough. Now you almost put yourself to a point. You've missed with 2 breaking pitches and really missed bad. And Greg Nettles, he gets you in a hole here at Yankee Stadium. He is looking nothing but heat.
He certainly has the edge now, 3-0.
Lurch is very careful with this fella.
Well, it wouldn't even surprise me right here. And I know Bob Lemon has got to know what Nettles does against Lurch if he green lights him.
Of course. But not that pitch.
Now walked him successively. The third pass issued by Lurch. Bob watches now.
This guy who desperately does not want to leave the Yankees. Says he'll retire if he's traded. Keeps asking, what is the owner's plan A? What is plan B? Plan A is to break up the Yankees if they don't go all the way or close to it. Plan B, or rather Plan A. Plan A is to stay reasonably the way you are if they do go all the way. Plan B is to break them up if they don't go all the way or come close.
As the game wears on, keep it in mind, Wally Fingers didn't pitch yesterday. Goose Gossage did. First time this entire season he has worked successive days. Lurch flips it up that time to make it 1-1.
Thing that ball was foul because Sal Bando, looking right down at home plate at the ball and at the hitter, Watson thinking it was foul all the way. It really wasn't that far foul. There was a little coolness in the air. You see Bando with a throwing hand in the back pocket. You'll see the infielders and outfielders do the same thing or blow on it a little bit.
A lot of them use those chemical hand warmers. Ball is hit in the air, out of play on the right side. The only problem with that, you tend to get a warm rump.
It's hard to get them out of your hand when the ball's hit to you.
One and 2 count. 2 out. Winfield and Nettles out there on the bases.
The difference in Bob Watson this time, and he walked the first time. You look at the runners, Nettles at first and Winfield right there at second base. He is really battling. He is really concentrating at home plate. He is whatever's going to happen. He is a tough at bat right here.
Count goes full to 3-2. Man on deck is Larry Milburn.
Missing with that breaking pitch there as you look at Milburn now. Do you give in to Watson? Nay.
He did, and Watson hits it to center field for a base hit, and Winfield turns third and comes on home. The Yankees lead it 1-0.
I'd like to see that pitch again. He makes a good pitch. Watson doesn't hit that ball hard at all because it is a slider. He doesn't give in to the fastball. You can see he hit it right off the end of the bat, and it's just a dying flail in the center field.
Look at him smile.
Oh, you got to smile.
What was it Keith said yesterday? That graphic speaks for itself. Right man, right place, right time. That's the problem when you play this club and when they're up. When they've got a roll on.
Milburn takes it high with Nettles at third now and Watson over at first. 2 out, and the Yankees break on top 1-0 in the bottom of the 4th inning.
Here's where you've got to really concentrate if you're pitching. You say, well, he got a number. He didn't hit it that good. I made a good pitch, but I got to get this guy out here.
Low, 2 balls and no strikes.
That's the former Met, Dwight Bernard.
Pitched in the opening game at Milwaukee. The bouncer is foul at third. I believe this is the first sold-out stadium in all of the playoffs, isn't it? I don't know what they drew today. Dodgers might have packed him at home. Or Phillies, I don't know about the crowds at those games, but I know coming into today's play, there had not been a sellout.
That's Rick Cerrone on deck. He's 2 for 8 thus far in the series. That's deceptive. Had 2 doubles in the first game of the series. Hit the ball well yesterday and hit it hard his first time up today.
While they're talking, let me tell you, the telecast presented by authority of Major League Baseball, intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of Major League Baseball is prohibited. Second baseman Gentner fights it, gets it, and throws him out. And so the Yankees leave 2, but they get on the scoreboard, and after 4 innings of play, New York 1, Milwaukee 0. At ABC Sports, it's being called Oktoberfest, and here are some of the reasons why. You'll see Leonard versus Hearns on ABC's Wide World of Sports, October 17. The World Series begin October 20. The New York Marathon, October 25. And we're going to cover that one live.
The governor of New Jersey, Brendan Burns, who was elected to come over to the Big Apple for an evening. He now has sports in New Jersey. But he really is rabid about sports anywhere, any city, any place, any time.
He's outgoing, isn't he? Pretty quick. He's outgoing as governor.
Of course. Job hunting.
Inside ball 1.
The Royals got to run in the top of the 4th.
Ball is hit up in the air by Ben Ogilvy. On the right side, it's Bob Watson for the catch, and you've got 1 out to Sal Bando now coming to the plate.
At this point, I feel badly for Ben. He has had a really terrible series. He's 0 for 10. He struck out 5 times. Gorman Thomas in much the same position, but Gorman tonight has been hitting the ball well. Good catch by Jackson, stopped him once. Death Valley stopped him the other time. Ben hasn't connected yet, but he's got some time left. Maybe it'll change.
Sal Bando hit it solid the last time at third, and Nettles flagged it down. This time he hits it back to Nettles on the ground, and Greg throws him out. 2 away.
Boy, that's nice when you can throw a couple of pitches and get 2 outs, and that's just what Tommy John has done. As you see this ball to Nettles, watch the easy hands. Watch this. Takes it, brings it right back up with him. Oh, he can play. He can play third base. There it is again. He's in full command of that ball.
Well, Tommy John is pitching so far a Tommy John game. Molitor has 2 singles. He only hits. 3 other balls have been hit to the outfield. Everything else within the infield.
I think pretty soon the Brewers are going to sit back there and say, well, what in the world's going on? Heck with this. Let's just go up and have our game and have fun.
They don't have that much time.
That's exactly right. You think it's going to... They have not had the kind of game they used the first 2 games. They have not been swinging well. They've gone after bad pitches, and even when they appear to have a good swing, body positioning has been bad.
Moore hits it to the right side. Reggie Jackson on the move. Brings it down, and so Tommy John gets the Brewers in order in the top of the 5th inning. And we're halfway there. 1-0 Yankees. Yankee catcher Rick Cerrone coming to the plate. The leadoff for New York, bottom of the 5th. For the game, Howard talked to Rick.
I want to ask you something directly. George Steinbrenner has been openly critical of you. He's your boss, your owner. Says that you really hung him up when you went to arbitration. A lot of different things. What effect has this had on you?
Well, Howard, I really looked at it and I said, George has the right to criticize my season. I'm disappointed in my season, but a lot of things you can't control. You can't control a broken hand. You can't control a 10-week strike. We spoke the day after it was in the paper when he came to New York. I think we cleared the air of some things, especially the arbitration hearing. And hopefully, we win and I'll be here next year.
In other words, you do fear being traded, which he has suggested.
Well, definitely. I think everybody's in that same category. He's come out with plan A, B, and C, and hopefully we can continue to win because we got a great bunch of guys over here that want to win, and I can be happily ever after playing in New York for the Yankees.
That ball that he hit down in the corner was foul. Hits another one down there. That's also foul.
He keeps playing the way he's played thus far in this series. He's upset with himself, swung out a little in advance. Well, you saw that sign. But he keeps playing this way. Georgie Porgy won't get rid of him. No way.
Right to Bando. Better count your fingers after that one, Sal.
This ball hit hard, but right at Bando. Actually, Lurch did not make a good pitch right here with the count 0-2.
The second baseman.
At Bando right there.
Willie Randolph.
Bottom of the 5th for the Yankees. New York leading 1-0.
Well, looking ahead, if we get to the great relievers, tonight seems to me you have to give the edge to the Brewers because Fingers didn't work yesterday.
McClure is the left-hander in the bullpen for Milwaukee. Bernard the right-hander, and that's drifting down in the crowd on the right side out of play.
And Gossage worked yesterday. Ron Davis had trouble going 2 consecutive days. So Raleigh is the rested.
But the Brewers are not yet on the scoreboard. It's true. For the shortstop, yeah. Whoa. Almost knocked Rahman over. He throws him out.
But they've really gotten a lot out of Lurch, Don.
Well, they're getting a lot out of Lurch. This ball hit hard right to Robin Yount. He's got to hold his ground right now. As you can see, that ball almost knocks Robin over. Has to set himself. And then he's got a great arm.
It's a classy shortstop.
Oh, he is.
Here's Jerry Mumphrey. That's to the second baseman, Gantner. And so Lurch gets New York in order in the bottom of the fifth inning. After 5, Yankees 1, Brewers nothing. Back after this from our local stations. The Oakland A's are making life miserable for the Kansas City Royals. We'll have Jim Gantner, Paul Molitor, and Robin Yount coming up for Milwaukee. A little baseball note today. Carl Yastrzemski signed his 21st and final contract, he says, with the Boston Red Sox today. And there you see our old pal Bob Uecker is working the radio broadcast for the Milwaukee Brewers.
Greatest year was in '65 with the then Milwaukee Braves. 132 games on the bench.
All right, here's Jimmy Gantner. All the Brewers in the top of the 6th. Broke his bat. Foul ball coming back in the crowd. That contract he has signed covers 1982 with an option year. I don't know, going to Fenway without Yastrzemski just won't seem natural, will it?
I got to believe that the shape that Carl keeps himself in, he'll go to 1982.
Remarkable career. Legendary figure in Bridgehampton, Long Island.
Tommy John can't get the Cerrone's attention or home plate umpire Ken Kaiser. They got a little confab going on right there. Tommy wants another ball.
The problem for the Brewers in this playoff series, the American League East, how to score runs. John breaks it over the corner, gets strike 2 on Gantner. Pull toward Randolph. Willie throws him out.
Well, up comes the young man who's gotten the 2 Brewers hits, Paul Molitor, playing center field tonight, a much better position, more familiar to him than right field, where he was employed in the 2 prior games, that again occasioned by Gorman Thomas, being designated hitter.
Tries to put it down and fouled it off.
Molitor, I think he comes from that old school of Lou Brock, because Brock, when he first came up, as you look at the Milwaukee dugout, they have scored a run the last 18 innings. They got to shake themselves a little bit. They look like a team right there that's just waiting to get beat and go back home. Somebody's got to walk down up and down that aisle and start kicking some rear ends a little bit. Wake them up. But Molitor, when he first came up, he would try and bunt at least one time a game.
Yeah, but look where Nettles is playing.
Well, he's moved in now.
Shallow against the bunt.
He wasn't there the time before. That's why he tried to bunt.
Look on Tommy John. He's not too quick off that mound either. That's rolled up the middle. Milburn over. Nice play by Larry Milburn. That's a dandy. But you're not dealing with a slow-footed fellow in Paul Molitor. He gets down that line well.
Certainly did. This fella's been amazing. As Stengel would have said.
Good throw right here, because he had to get something on it. Now look at the call. Look where it is. Right there, Dave Phillips makes the call. Nobody ever questioned the glove of Milbourne. The only thing they ever questioned about Milbourne is could he stay in the major leagues with his bat.
And really, could he play shortstop?
Oh,
Second base is normal position. He has played it, yeah.
Robin Yount fouls it away for strike 1.
But those kind of guys, you can't say how valuable they are when you have a guy go down like a Dent, or if a Randolph goes down, or whoever. As you look at the defensive alignment for Robin Yount, everybody just fanned him straight away. Those kind of people are worth their weight in gold.
1-1.
The worst pitch Tommy's thrown all night.
Buck Rogers.
Somebody's got to wake that Brewer bench up a little bit, because this guy here will put you to sleep.
Now pops it up on the right side for Randolph, drifting out into right field. And the inning is over. So now Tommy John has retired the last 7 Brewers in order, and the Yankees lead it 1-0. All right, it's Dave Winfield up for the 3rd time after a double and a single, followed by Reggie Jackson and Lou Piniella. It's the heart of the New York order now as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning with the Yankees leading Milwaukee by a score of 1-0. Yankees have 3 hits. The Brewers have 2, both Milwaukee hits by Molitor. Winfield has 2 of the 3 New York hits. Randy Lurch is outside to him for ball 1. Mike Caldwell, a surprise starter yesterday, pitched beautiful ball game, but didn't get him any runs. Lurch coming in a day ahead of schedule today, and it's conceivable that Randy might not have pitched at all if Vukovic hadn't come down with a flu. And he's pitched well.
He has. You know, you just can't say too much for the job that 2 guys have done that maybe are pitching out of rotation. Yesterday we knew Caldwell was, and today it's Lurch because Caldwell was going to start here. You can't ask any more than what they've done. They've done a fine job. The bats have just gone to sleep.
1-1 pitch is outside.
Well, the Yankees haven't tattooed anyone either. In game number 1, they kept leaving men on third with less than 2 out. Game number 2, there's Oakland now 4-1. Billy Ball dominating. But the Yankees haven't been killing anyone either.
Breaking pitch. 3-1.
Don't get that up there where that big guy can take a swing at it. He'll jump off the ground. But he has. Randy Lurch has pitched a one whale of a ball game so far. Got out of a jam or 2, but he's okay.
Three and 2. Those of you not familiar with the comment relative to Pete Vukovic, scheduled to pitch the 2nd game, Milwaukee's top pitcher this year at 14-4, came down with a flu and had a high fever. Came to New York, got here late today, but is in no condition to go out there and pitch, not after running a high fever. Winfield reaches and fouls it away. And the other thing is that Molitor wasn't feeling all that spiffy himself tonight.
Had the same thing, Keith, and he's had a doctor kind of following him around all day long. But so far, he's the only guy that's got the 2 hits.
All 4. Once again, Winfield is on base for Jackson. And the Milwaukee bullpen, McClure and Bernard up again.
Got to get that action in a hurry. Can't risk letting the game get out of hand. That's Buck Rogers' problem.
Good pitch. Changed speeds on him and got him out in front.
Now they took a little bit off the breaking pitch. Last time he struck Jackson out on the fastball down and away. This time Reggie may be looking fastball and a good pitch. Good location.
Nipped the bat inside for 2 strikes. He's trying to pull away. McClure's a lefty and Bernard's a right-hander in the Milwaukee pen. Both pitched in the opening game. Outside corner.
And Reggie knew it. He was outguessed again.
Yeah, that's got him looking in the 4th, got him looking in the 6th.
Boy, he made a hellacious pitch right there. Woo.
So the young man hangs in there, tough. And here's Lou Piniella with 1 out. Winfield on first. Foul ball right side.
And Lou is still going right field.
Well, he was, that's what I said the last time up. He was still going to right. He's still throwing well, 90 miles an hour clocked on that last pitch. Lou's got something in the back of his mind. Hitters are funny. They get something up there, and they just keep going. And all of a sudden, when you think, well, now I got him figured out, I know what he's going to try and do, you change locations a little bit, and they're thinking right along with you, and they change, and ouch. 1-1 the count on Piniella with Winfield at first, and 1 out. You can see Simmons that time splitting that outside corner, and all that is just a reminder to Lurch. Here I am. I'm out here. Let's not get it inside. Give it to me out here, even if we miss with it. You can see the hand outside. Now we'll see where he goes. Runner goes. Pitcher Lurch. Winfield going to third. He's out. And hitting, and Winfield with those long strides took that big turn with that high chop over the mound and went in head first at third, and is not happy with the call. Well, here he goes, because there's nobody at third base at this particular time, and now it's Robin Yount that gets over there. He's got to, because Banda was in on the high chopper. You be the judge. There's the arm, the tag, and right there's Mike Riley. Evidently, he says that he got the arm before the hand got to the bag.
Either that or he bounced off on it.
He could have, and take another peek at. Boy, when this guy gets going, he eats that ground up in a hurry. A good throw by Cooper, heads-up play by Yount. And I believe, yes, sir. He was
out.
He was out. So, a flurry of excitement and a little discussion. And after 6, 1-0 Yankees. Looking at that play at third base again from a different angle. And give Mike Riley, the umpire, all the credit in the world. I mean, he had a first-class view. And he called him out. Yes, sir.
So in this series, in which the third game is another of series of building tensions. Now, John has to go against the middle of the order. Cooper, Simmons, and Gorman Thomas.
Cooper, a double play, and rolled out to the second baseman. Pulled sharply, it bounces off Bob Watson, and Cooper's on.
Here we go.
They might give him an error. You see Bob guarding the line against that extra base hit. Now, I'd guarantee you 9 out of 10 times Bob Watson is going to go over and get that ball. He played it bad. Look at this. Somebody coming out in the field, and Riley. And there they go at it down the third base line. They are down the third base line. A fan came out of the crowd. And they went after the third base umpire, Mike Riley.
Greg Nettles jumped on him immediately.
Nettles got on him in a hurry, and the home plate umpire, Ken Kaiser, who's a bouncer in his own right, and they get him out of there in a hurry.
We had to show this scene. Sometimes we don't. We hate to have to do it, but we would not be journalists if we didn't. And unspeakable evidence of what Pat Hayden of the Rams has called recreational violence. Once and for all, there is the umpire, and one can understand his feelings, the indignation, the impingement upon his pride and self-respect and dignity. And once and for all, let the commissioners and let us in television and those of us in print denounce this kind of thing. Take action against it. There's too much of this growing in this country, period.
That is Ken Kaiser, the home plate umpire, who saw his colleague at third base, Mike Riley, knocked down. And it was Kaiser who dropped the mask and hat and made a beeline for third base. There's Mike. He got on top, and thanks to Greg Nettles, and he's going to say thank you. He says he's all right, but I'll tell you one thing. You don't want to monkey around with a man behind home plate. Kaiser, as I said before, he's a professional bouncer, ex-professional wrestler.
The whole thing started, apparently, somebody lost their head and came out of the stands on the close play at third base on Dave Winfield. Riley made the call. He was in perfect position to make the call, and there is ample evidence on the replays that he made the right call. But some partisan incensed by it came running onto the field, and in a way, it's too bad they didn't let Ken Kaiser have a hand on him.
In a way. But let's say this. People too often say, well, they're just a fringe kook group and so on. They don't represent. No, they don't represent New York City. Nobody says they do. But this phenomenon of fan violence is growing in America, and enough is enough.
Yeah, but your courts have got to have enough guts to do something about it.
That is also true.
All right, we'll go back to play now. Order has been restored. And Tommy John, unflappable, comes in with a strike.
By the way, you see there the line score, the 3 hits apiece. That last ball hit to Bob Watson was ruled a base hit.
Cooper goes foul at the plate.
Well, there's a little indication right there what Bob Rogers is thinking about. He said, we're not doing nothing on our own. We got to try and make something happen. Look at this pitch. Here's the hit and run. Ted Simmons has to try and protect the runner. He foul tips it. It gets a piece of the meat hand of Rick Cerrone, and Cooper goes back. But he's trying to make something happen right now.
That's true, but that was a hard pitch to hit and run on. It was a typical Tommy John sinker.
He just had to protect him, Howard. That was all.
That's true.
He couldn't afford to have him thrown out.
Tomorrow, Oklahoma and Texas at 12:30 Eastern Time, 9:30 out on the West Coast, and we'll have the 4th game in the American League, East and West, if they are necessary. Oakland leading 4-1 over Kansas City out on the West Coast in their game tonight, and New York is leading 1-0 here in the top of the 7th against the Milwaukee Brewers. The count, 2 strikes on Ted Simmons. Cecil Cooper is the man at first base. Gorman Thomas is in the on-deck circle. Milwaukee bullpen has been active on 2 occasions. Now there's someone throwing in the New York bullpen. But it is not one of the big hummers. That's Barry Foote loosening up, because Cerrone was hit on the throwing hand by the foul tip a while ago and could swell up on him, could get sore. That's Barry Foote. Simmons fouls it back, hangs in there at 1-2. In the 4th inning, Winfield singled, Nettles a 2-out walk, and then Bob Watson singled up the middle. That's the scoring summary in the ball game to this point. This is the 3rd time in the ball game that Milwaukee has been able to get the leadoff man aboard. Ball is hit well to left. Winfield drifting back. It's gone.
A high fastball, a pitch up over the plate, and I don't know whether this could be the one blow that might ignite that Milwaukee bench. And I'll guarantee you one thing, you'll see Mr. Fingers moving around a little bit.
And that's what Ted Simmons did all the way down the stretch. He told you earlier in our interview his dream, his fulfillment was to be here. Forget his .216 average. This is an exceptional hitter.
Curveball. Look where the ball is. Right up in his wheelhouse. And he hit it way back. And the Brewers are on top. 2-1 in the top of the 7th.
And lead for the first time since the top of the 4th inning in the first game.
And Fingers is up. So Gorman Thomas now comes on after the 2-run home run. See Raleigh Fingers throwing easily in the bullpen. Brewers back to the wall. Thomas hits it into left field for a base hit.
Suddenly they are creaming Tommy John.
There's Teddy Simmons down in the dugout, and look at that Milwaukee bench is a little bit different right now. They're up, stirring around a little bit. Somebody did it, and it was the name of Ted Simmons that did it. He got him a home run, a 2-run homer to put him on top. You know, you just wonder, guys, how much that little incident at third base might have just unnerved and broke the concentration of Tommy John. Could have. Ogilvy up there with Thomas on first, and Ben slides up the bat handle, gets everybody moving around, and now there is activity again in the New York bullpen. Frazier's 43, Rudy May is number 45.
That was big trade.
Here's your bunt. Back to the pitcher, and the runner advances.
Big trade that brought Ted Simmons to Milwaukee, and Vukovich too, for that matter.
So with one out now, Thomas is down at second. 2 runs are in, and here comes Sal Bando, and there's the man that hit the 2-run homers. Ted Simmons, you saw. But they've got now Thomas in on the far corner. Bando stepping in, trying to deliver him. And Tommy John is outside. Ball 1. You think he'll come with fingers, or will he send Lurch back out there?
I think he'll come with fingers. What do you think?
I think he will, too.
Just slow.
I guess we got to try and go a little step further on that, Keith. I think it depends on what Milwaukee does in this inning. If they get in any kind of a fairly big inning, get up to a 2 to 3 run lead, he might let him go back out there.
There's one hit to right center. It's in there for a base hit. That's going to score Gorman Thomas from second base, and the Brewers lead it now 3-1. So Bando delivers.
Milwaukee dugout, they're alive now, and Bob Lemon's going to make his way to the mound.
Bruce Gossage now, remember, pitched Wednesday and Thursday. Davis pitched Wednesday well, not so well Thursday, and neither man has pitched 3 straight days this entire season.
Tommy John,
why you don't see him out there.
That's very true, Keith. And also, it's a 7th inning. Bob's going to stay with him. The main thing is just to let him settle down a little bit. He's starting to get the ball up. Look at the location to Bando. The fastball up over the plate, just took it to the opposite field, right back up the middle a little bit, if you will. And, of course, Gorman Thomas knows where the outfielders are playing, and he scores without a play being made on him. 3-1.
Key element, as we discussed earlier, pitching edge now goes to Milwaukee with fingers.
Here's Charlie. Runner goes. Moore bangs it to Nettles. Nettles throws it across, but it's a foul ball.
Greg trying to get up that line and get it before it got in the foul ground. That's where you try and do some body English over there. Get your body's in, but the ball's out. But there was 2 good calls by Kenny Kaiser and his colleague Mike Riley.
Interesting. 2 teams down 2 games to none. Have already won today in the National League. The Phils and the Dodgers. The Yankees now clearly in trouble. Oakland, on the other hand, may be on its way to a sweep.
Pitch is outside. Count is 1-1 to Charlie Moore.
Tommy's control has been off a little bit the last couple of innings. He's been a little wild outside. He's starting to get the ball up in the strike zone a little bit, and he can't pitch that way.
Good pitch there. 1-2. Well, they sacrificed that man to second, and they got him home. They didn't do that yesterday.
Execution.
Also has something to do, I guess, with who's handling the stick at the plate.
Exactly.
Too.
Sal Bando.
It was Ogilvy who laid it down.
Yep, he wasn't going to take any chances there.
2-2. Runner goes, got him picked off. Moore's out. Moore, standing at the plate, watches as Bando gets picked off. And inning is over. So Charlie comes back. Bando, I'll tell you, old Sal, once he got leaning the other way, he was a dead duck, wasn't he?
Well, Tommy's thinking that he might try something here, even with the 2 strikes. What Bando does, very good base running. See him stay inside the line and make that first baseman throw around him.
Three and 2 now on Moore. And Charlie fouls it off in the New York dugout. More walks. Tough inning for John.
I'd like to have $1 bill for every time you've seen that. A runner either get picked off and thrown out at second base, trying to steal and throw him out at second, and the next guy walk or get a base hit.
Well, here's $1 bill.
It's not enough because I've seen it too many times.
Here comes a runner now. For Charlie Moore. That's Bosley, isn't it?
That's Marshall Edwards.
Marshall Edwards.
He's an outfielder, young outfielder that was put on the roster, eligible for the playoff.
So that means Moore's out of the ball game. Somebody else is going to go play right field.
Marshall Edwards.
You know Bosley, he's an outfielder, right?
Yep. Edwards is too. Edwards is primarily a center fielder, so what you might see here coming back out, you might see Molitor go to right and Edwards going to play center field.
Roll toward Randolph. And the inning is over. But it is a most profitable inning for the Milwaukee Brewers. They score 3 and lead 3-1. The history and performance of this man, Raleigh Fingers, has been clearly documented. He's one of the best at his trade. And he's on in relief in the bottom of the 7th inning. In right field is a young man you may not know much about, Marshall Edwards. The Brewers had to get league approval to add him. He's called up from Vancouver when the rosters were expanded September 1. He could only be added because of injury to Mark Bruhard, who had pulled a muscle in his right calf. Otherwise, Bruhard would be out there and Marshall wouldn't be on the roster. But here he is in Yankee Stadium in right field. Now, Raleigh Fingers will pitch to Greg Nettles, Bob Watson, and Larry Milburn. 3-1, the Brewers lead. The Yankees have had 3 hits in the ball game. The Brewers now have 6. Greg Nettles hits it high in the air on the left side, in play for Bando. Just over the foul line, makes the catch for the first out.
The first baseman, Bob Watson.
The importance of the job, and it was extraordinary, that Randy Lurch did will become more and more evident in these 3 innings that remain.
Bob Watson walked and singled. Pops him up on the right side, but it's going to come back out of play.
Kind of tells you a little bit about what the Yankee hitters and the respect they have, I think, for Raleigh Fingers. They don't want to give him a chance to work on you. They'll try and take a whack at him as soon as you can. You know that man right there, unless something really falls apart, he is going to win it for Milwaukee or get beat himself.
Right side going into the stands, out of play.
I should clarify that and make it in the proper perspective. He will save it for Milwaukee.
3 pitches, all swung at. Good career record for Bob against Raleigh.
And one to right field for a base hit. Edwards hustles it back in, and Watson's aboard.
Kind of gave you a little little bit of an idea what Watson thinks about hitting against Raleigh Fingers. He was going to right field all the way. He wasn't thinking about trying to pull that ball. You could just see it's outside. I'll just take it to the right side. Larry Milburn now will come to the plate and hit from the left side. Young Edwards got that ball back in quickly, didn't he? In that rounded corner.
He's got an excellent arm, Keith.
First baseman's got to make the play. Throws it away, and Raleigh Fingers goes down hard as Milburn runs into him. Look out here. Fingers wanted that ball all the way.
And Cooper came on. If Fingers takes the ball himself, he can make the play by himself. All Cooper did was really just get in the way and botch it up. Now watch Fingers going over.
Could he have reached it?
Yeah, he wanted it. Now he goes in behind him. Now it becomes a tough play. He could have got there.
Very importantly, Watson did not get to go to third.
Well, they got on the ball in a hurry.
Gantner was right there.
Gantner was there. Actually, Jimmy Gantner could have got to the bag and made an easier play than what Raleigh Fingers could have. Fingers really got in the way. If Fingers rolls off to the left side and gets out of the way, of course, he wasn't looking at Gantner at that time.
Okay, now, Ken Kaiser, the plate umpire, was just talking to Buck Rogers, and Rogers had gone out to see if this pitcher was all right. That conversation eventuated to the mound, but that does not count as a trip to talk to the pitcher.
No, Ken Kaiser went over to Bob Lemon and just took his hands and waved him aside, and he said that is not a trip.
Also a base hit for Milburn. Watson at second. You've got one out, and Cerrone is the batter. Now let's see whether or not the tumble had any effect on Fingers. Apparently not. Line score in the game. Center field drops for a base hit. Watson coming home. And Milburn goes to third.
Quite a series, isn't it? Yankees fighting right back. And Cerrone going to the opposite field, even as Watson did.
This pitch was inside out. Actually, Cerrone just trying to get a piece of the ball, moves it to the opposite field. That's all. And the big play here wasn't hit hard enough to hold Milburn at second base, and a heads-up play by Molitor, not even trying to go to third, and let the winning run go to second.
So the tying run now in a 3-2 ball game is 90 feet away. And Larry Milburn with Cerrone at first base, and here's Willie Randolph. Only one out.
Jamie Easterly starting to crank up down in the Milwaukee bullpen.
Streamers on the field. They're pulling him out of the way. There's Easterly.
You know what I'm thinking about? Fingers hasn't thrown a breaking pitch yet.
One out. Milburn coming off the bag at third. Randolph in.
There's the first one. Right.
Strike one. In the hole, base hit. Game is tied. And the go-ahead run, and Cerrone moves up to second.
where Bando's got to guard the line at third. If he's in his normal position, it's a routine play, maybe even a double play. But it has eyes, but what Fingers has done, they haven't hit the ball that hard. The hardest ball hit was the leadoff hitter, Bob Watson. After that, they've had some bleeders.
Exactly right. But they've come back. And they did it against Raleigh Fingers. And this has turned out to be a really dramatic series.
Outside. All even in the bottom of the 7th inning. 3-3. Second baseman Gantner, second one, back to first, double, no! He's safe at first base. And Sal Bando comes all the way across to complain. Here comes Buck Rogers out. Cerrone moving over to third.
I'll tell you, this is a close play, but you've got to give credit to Randolph. And also, Gantner made a good play, a good flip and hard to Robin Yount. And there goes Randolph, but the ball is already gone. And Yount, give him credit, he stayed right there. But that play at first base was awfully close.
Well, it's the speed of Mumphrey. Jerry gets down there in a hurry. First, there's your element of contact in the game of baseball.
I don't know.
I tell you, I don't know either. They might have a pretty good argument.
I don't know. Here's the man who's 2 for 2.
That's the combination out there that led the American League in double plays this season. Dave Winfield is now at the plate with 2 out. And the go-ahead run, and Rick Cerrone over at third base. Bottom of the 7th inning.
Winfield, he's just studying the defense right there. He's looking to see where everybody's playing. Well, everybody's fanned out because that's the type of hitter he is. Breaking pitch for a strike.
Fouled away. 2 strikes.
Quite a swing on that one.
Now our hitters supposed to swing this hard. And if they do, are you allowed not to just spin them around a little bit and say, don't swing that hard and show me up?
That's a prominent member of the Pitchers Union talking there.
You can swing hard, but don't fall down swinging at me. Don't embarrass me.
2-strike pitch. Got it. So Raleigh Fingers strikes out Dave Winfield, but the Yankees come back, get 2 runs off the ace reliever of the Milwaukee Brewers, and after 7 innings of play at Yankee Stadium in New York, we've got a tie ball game. Brewers 3, Yankees 3. Floating over Yankee Stadium. Wind is quite brisk right now, but not affecting play on the field in any sense. And the scoring summary in the ball game to this point: 4th inning, Winfield single, Nettles a walk, Watson singled him home. 1-0 New York. Then 7th inning, Cooper a single, Simmons a 2-run shot to left for a home run. Thomas a single, Ogilvy a sacrifice, Bando a single, 3-1 Milwaukee. Bottom of the 7th, Watson a single, Milburn a single, Cerrone a single, and Randolph a single, all off Fingers, and we're all even at 3-3.
Key single there, of course. Milburn's on that play when Fingers should have let Gantner cover first.
Rudy May and George Frazier in the New York bullpen as Tommy John comes out now in the top of the 8th inning against Milwaukee. And here's the Yankee pen. The Brewers have Paul Molitor, Robin Yount, and Cecil Cooper. Molitor in the ball game has singled twice and rolled out to the shortstop. On the outside corner, 1-2 as the Brewers are now struggling, trying to stay alive in the American League Eastern Division playoffs. Lose tonight, they go home. Comes inside with it. 2-2. Ball is well hit to left. Well hit to left. It's a home run. He got a hold of it. Winfield, I think, got his glove on it. It is a home run. Now he flips it back up in the crowd, and Molitor homers to left at about 380 feet, and the Brewers are back on top 4-3. If you want to see an effort, this has got to be A+ for effort. Now, this is the kind of athlete Winfield is. He goes up over that wall and goes actually, he just keeps going. I can't believe that. I cannot believe that effort. Well, remember now, I told you if we're standing flat-footed, he can reach 10-6. Oh, I've never seen nothing. I've seen a couple things here tonight I've never seen before.
What you're seeing is the character of a Milwaukee team that New York fans had come to underrate because of the prior 2 Yankee victories.
John goes to 2 balls and no strikes now on Robin Yount.
And Lim's got a decision to make because Tommy John is apparently run out.
Yeah, they worked him over in the 7th. Outside corner, 2-1. That was a heck of an effort by Dave Winfield. He can really get up in the air. He's got to have been 14, 15 feet. That's through Nettle. And Yount's aboard. That may go as a hit. That one was blistered.
I think it should.
Bob Lemon, as you look at it again, that ball hit hard. Now, Nettles has to stay with it, hold his ground. He gets caught on the in-between hops. He can't move with it. He's just got to make a tough play. Here's the one at Winfield. Look at the effort once again on Dave Winfield. The wall is 8 feet high. 8 feet, right. And Winfield, I don't believe this. That is unbelievable. He is up well over that. He'd have caught that. Well, you can see the ball hit. Ricochet. Just ricocheted, yeah. Going to get a pitching change. Tommy John is going to leave the ball game. Rudy May is going to come on as his replacement here in the top of the 8th inning. Milwaukee ahead by 1. Rudy May making his first appearance in the playoff series. And tonight we have a crowd at Yankee Stadium of 54,171. It's got to be the biggest crowd of any of the playoffs, I would think. Pretty close to it. Live coverage tomorrow morning, 5 a.m. Benoit Sadat's funeral. Peter Jennings and Barbara Walters reporting on ABC. So Tommy John goes 7 innings plus, 4 earned runs, 8 hits, didn't strike out anybody, and he walked 2. Now, Rudy May is on in relief. Home runs against John by Ted Simmons for 2 runs and a solo by Paul Molitor. And the Brewers now have scored their 4th run in the top of the 8th inning to lead 4-3. And Cecil Cooper up against Rudy May.
Well, you're a run ahead. Do you bunt?
Yes. With Simmons up next, yes. Left-handed pitcher, yes.
Cooper squares away and takes a strike.
You were right.
Pops it up, back to the pitcher. Yount dives, and the ball gets away down the right field line. And Robin Yount takes a turn at second and holds there.
So it served the purpose because of the Rudy May misplay. He didn't look, he just threw.
And if Robin Yount keeps going right around to third, he can make it because Reggie Jackson was not backing up. There's the play. May doesn't have a play at first base. Nope. Yount is going to get back, and now he throws it behind both of them.
Ted Simmons.
Should have stuck it in his pocket. There's nobody there. If Robin just quits looking back and picks up his third base coach, he keeps on going to third, I'll guarantee you. Could have made it. Harry Warner couldn't get his attention. So you've got one out now, man at second base, and Ted Simmons is up. Ball gets away, Yount breaks and goes to third. Now Simmons can deliver him with a fly ball. This ball is catchable, although it is a tough pitch to handle, but Rick Cerrone has got to get out there a little bit better than that.
One of the fascinating things about baseball, how quickly it can turn around, how quickly the team apparently in command can play shabby baseball, which the Yankees are now doing.
Wild pitch against May. Ball is hit, left center field, up to the alley, going through, and Yount can walk home. Ted Simmons heading for second. May go for three. He's going. It'll be close. He slid over the bag and he's tagged out. The run scores, and it's 5-3 Brewers. Slid over the bag. Well, there's no question that Ted Simmons right here, you could stick a fork in him because he was about done. And all he's got to do is get to the bag. That's it. And he just can't get to the bag. He can't get that left foot down to start with, and the right foot comes off of the bag. And now Greg Nettles just puts a leg down, and there once again, Mike Riley in great position to make the call.
Came in like a tired porpoise.
He was spooked. But he got that runner home, and it's 5-3 Milwaukee.
And Ted Baby has had 3 RBIs tonight.
It'll go 8-6-5 for the second out.
You see how relaxed Buck Rogers looked in that picture talking to Ted?
Norman Thomas is up there, and Rudy Mays out in front with 2 strikes.
See that?
Well, there's still 2 innings. True. That's a high pop left side for Milburn. And the inning is over. But it's 2 big runs for the Milwaukee Brewers. Now Raleigh Fingers will come out and pitch to those 3. Jackson, Vanilla, and Nettle.
This must have been a year beyond your wildest dreams, Raleigh. Just sensational.
Yeah, it kind of was. I think everything really went right for me. We had a great defense. Robin Yount, Jim Gant returned, I guess, the league-leading double plays for us. And every time I needed a strikeout, I got it. If I needed a diving catch in the outfield, I got it. It was just one of those things where everything went right for me.
You know, I remember when the season started, there were whispers around the league that Raleigh Fingers wasn't the reliever he used to be. That maybe now he could just go an inning for you, and that's all. I wondered if you were aware of that, and you found this year a special test.
I was a little bit older, and, a lot of people talk, but my arm really felt good all season long. The strike, I think, probably helped me more physically than anything. Usually this time of the year, I've got to rely on my slider, my control, and go at it that way. But so far this year, I've had a good fastball. I've had good control. My slider's been hard, and I think physically I'm stronger right now than I think I have been at any time in my career.
Right fielder, Reggie Jackson.
Oh, a reflection by Raleigh Fingers on the kind of a year he's had. Now he's got a fair chore in front of him. In a 5-3 ball game, bottom of the 8th inning, Milwaukee leading. He's pitching to Jackson, Vanilla, and Nettle. May not be quite as difficult in the bottom of the 9th as it is here in the bottom of the 8th. Ball is hit to center.
but well in play for the center fielder, Molitor. 1 out. So with a right-hander Fingers on the mound, it will be Oscar Gamble, who had a 2-run home run in the opening game at Milwaukee on Wednesday. Oscar Gamble. Here comes the element of the bench into the fray.
This ballpark, if there was ever a ballpark made for somebody, you would have to think of Oscar Gamble right away. Also Greg Nettles. Both dead hook hitters, pull hitters. Absolutely.
Big swing and a miss. He turned it over on him.
Yes, he did. And that's the same pitch that he got Jackson to fly out on.
Virtually imperturbable. The man came in, took a tumble at first base, rolled around, thrashed, came right back. Yankees tied it. Now his ball club's back on top by 2. He's trying to hold it. And he's got a 2-strike count on Oscar Gamble.
When he first came in and we made the comment, and that was in the last inning, of course, he went to the first few hitters. He never threw any any breaking pitches, any off-speed pitches at all. That's all they've seen so far.
Up the middle it goes. Base hit for Gamble.
You just can't keep throwing the low pitch to Oscar. You can't. However, up comes a man who is 0 for 10 on the series thus far, though he did have 2 walks today.
There's a little Scroogey that Raleigh's come up with, and he still hasn't thrown. He didn't throw a fastball this inning. He might have wished he'd have thrown one right there. That's the old epitome of throw it and duck.
Keep in mind, I don't want to keep planting seeds of fear for the Milwaukee faithful, but this man has hit more home runs in Yankee Stadium as it is constructed now than anybody. Fingers gets out in front with a strike.
One thing about Greg Nettles, when he makes his mind up to pull, there's nobody that throws hard enough to make him not pull.
Historically, as you just saw, he's had trouble with Raleigh, and he likes it up and over the plate. He doesn't do to a low pitch what Gamble does.
Just outside, 2 balls and 1 strike. With Gamble on first base, Nettles represents the tying run at the plate. LaRoche is now up in the New York bullpen. Popped him up on the left side. The left fielder, Ogilvy, comes in and makes the catch. 2 out. And Gamble comes back to first base.
I think the only guy Ben was waving off that time was the left field umpire, Larry McCoy.
Nobody around him, no.
He's out there like thrashing around in water.
Bobby Mercer coming out. The hit for Bob Watson.
If this game goes the way it is now, to me, the underlying hero is a guy named Randy Lurch. He came from nowhere. Nobody thought he could contain the Yankees. He worked 6 innings, allowed only 1 run, kept his team in the ball game, and really a sensational job.
Well, Howard, there's no question about that. I was just thinking about the meeting that was at the mound between Raleigh Fingers, Ted Simmons, and Sal Bando. You had a National League and an American League book and a scouting report. Because they're going over Bobby Mercer from the American League with Bando and Fingers. Simmons is going over from the National League with the Chicago Cubs and the report that they have on him right now.
He has won a few here.
He's replacing Watson, who is hitting over 500 against Fingers and singled to right field his last time around. But you can understand Lem looking with the short right field porch to Mercer. But Bobby himself is a contact hitter. He will hit the home run. He has occasional power, but he's going to hit that baseball. That's what he's at.
Well, the big thing, Fingers has done him a favor right here. He's put him on top in the count, 2 balls and no strikes. As you say, Howard, Bobby's a contact hitter. But you put Bobby Mercer ahead on the count when he can lay for something, and he can hit the long ball and really hurt you. Beats it on the ground toward the first baseman, Cooper. Picks it up, makes the play himself. And so, Wally Fingers is able to work himself through the middle of the order without being hurt. Milwaukee 5, Yankees 3 after 8. Dave Revering replaces Bob Watson here in the top of the 9th inning at first base, his first appearance in the Eastern Division Playoff Series. And for Milwaukee, Ben Ogleby, Sal Bando, and the right fielder, Edwards. Rudy May in relief of Tommy John. And that's fouled away on the left side upstairs. Tomorrow, Sooners of Oklahoma, the Longhorns of Texas, just after lunch in the East and just after breakfast in the West. Then we will have the 4th game of the American League Eastern Division Playoff Series, unless the Yankees can come storming back.
When are you flying out?
Immediately.
After this?
Yes. 4-1, Oakland over Kansas City in the 8th inning.
We'll miss you.
That's a great full football traditional down there in the Cotton Bowl in Dallas. Do it with little sleep, but it's fun to see. Texas rated 3rd in the nation. Oklahoma ranked 10th in the nation. Hold down the line foul. That's one of those games that's worth 3 rupees and a hot dog. Frank Broyles already walking the floor. Good coaching yet. He gets up 5 o'clock every Saturday morning. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Yeah. There's some of the events in October on ABC and from ABC Sports. The Leonard Hearns fight, October 17. World Series, October 20. New York Marathon, October 25. That's not all. That's just some of the major events that are coming along. There's a lot of other things going on as well.
You in the marathon?
I think not. Got turf toe. Put the right person behind him, he'll be in the marathon. Ben hanging in, trying to get a base hit. Oh, he might have one. It's going to the corner. Reggie over. He got it.
Now that was an exceptional play. A man who no longer has the great speed. He had another good running catch tonight, but in fairness, he should have gotten to that one perhaps earlier than he did the other catch. This was an exceptional play. Backhanding the ball, not giving up on it.
That ball is actually hooking away from Reggie. And you could see he just flipped the ball to the right field umpire. That was Dale Ford. And he came down with that right hand. And, of course, with that gravel out there, you can have a chance to really hurt yourself, not only with the gravel, but with the wall. Good catch by Reggie. Sal Bando is up. Milwaukee leading 5-3, batting in the top of the 9th inning. Got to win to stay alive. Bando hits it to the shortstop, Milburn. 2 out. Here comes Marshall Edwards now. His first trip to the plate in the series.
Marshall Edwards.
Marsh's got to feel like it's Christmas for him to get this chance. Join the big club and then get to participate in the playoffs. Fouls it away. Marshall Edwards has excellent speed, and he has a real good throwing arm. He covers a lot of ground in that outfield. Played at Vancouver. Fouled at the plate.
2-strike count. Rudy May on the mound. In case you're wondering about Gossage and Davis, they pitched on successive days. And at no time during this season, as we mentioned earlier, have they pitched 3 successive times. Yankees have the luxury. And if it was a must-win thing, sure, in they come. But it's not a must-win thing for New York.
Which is why we talked about Fingers providing the pitching edge tonight.
Rudy May strikes out Marshall Edwards to end the inning. Milwaukee Brewers lead the ball game 5-3. The Yankees have Milburn, Cerrone, and Randolph in the bottom of the 9th. We go to the bottom of the 9th inning for New York, and Milburn takes a strike from Raleigh Fingers with Cerrone on deck and Randolph to follow. The pitchers that we expect tomorrow for Milwaukee is Moose Haas. Don't think that Pete Vukovich is going to be well enough to pitch. You never know unless he has remarkable recovery power.
This is what happens in a short series. Things change quickly. Russell will work for the Yankees. Haas only worked 3 innings, didn't have it in the opening game. Went out when the Yankees scored 4 in the 4th. But should Haas have it tomorrow, and he's got a record of successes against the Yankees, it'd be very interesting if it came down to a 5th game with Vukovich.
Fingers bends a curve on the outside corner and gets Larry Milburn looking for the first out.
Here is a nasty curveball right here. He brought it from the outside in and nipped that corner. Milburn doesn't like the call, but Ken Kaiser said, "That's it, pal."
Getting back to the pitching rotation, that's why you got to look at for tonight is Randy Lurch. He did what he had to do. Nobody thought he could do it.
Well, actually, so did Caldwell yesterday. Really, Mike pitched a heck of a ball game.
Yes, too. But he lost.
He lost.
You can't change that.
I learned well from Satch. I ain't never looking back.
By the way, that's the first time Raleigh's given up 5 hits all year in a ball game. It's kind of year he's had.
Well, he's got that deuce working now.
He sure does. You can see it.
He smells something. And it's not the wax on that mustache.
He smells a wind. That's going down the right field line. It's foul ball.
Incidentally, as a reminder, remember the 2nd inning when Piniella led off, hit an obviously fair ball. Dale Ford called it foul. Charlie Moore, playing right field, couldn't handle it. And now you're looking at this one.
Dale Ford, that ball went right over his head. He had to get out of the way. There's not enough room down there to move him, but he could turn around and spot this one.
But that erroneous call by Ford had a bearing on this game, too. The following 2 batters walked, Nettles and Watson. Piniella led off the inning.
2 strikes to Cerrone. Pop foul back out of play. I bet it's quiet right now in Milwaukee. See whether or not Big Raleigh can get him. He's got 1. He needs 2 more.
You could see what Fingers was doing that last pitch because Cerrone said, "Don't go out there and hit that ball down the right field line like that with 2 strikes. I know what you're thinking, pal." And he just brought it back up right under his chin, that last one a little bit. Not quite under there, but enough to remind him that give me something to work with.
In the 8th inning now, Oakland leading 4-1.
Ball is hit to left field for Ben Ogilvy. 2 down.
Second baseman.
Now, the Yankee second baseman, Willie Randolph, is the last breath for New York in this game. Game 4 tomorrow follows Oklahoma, Texas, here on ABC.
It's a big hand.
Look at that forkball. He's got it set. He had it doing the fastball, but Wally just sitting there and throwing well with a 91-mile-an-hour fastball, but just sitting in there gripping it in the glove like that. See how he stuck it in there between the fingers? He has it set, and then he goes. But he can always change it. There he changes it. Nice camera work, guys.
Fouled away. And
I tell you, coaches at third would like to see that. That's interesting to me.
It's 2 strikes on Randolph.
There's the forkball when it's not thrown as hard as a fastball, and it has a tendency to have lack of rotation. See him look at the fingers in there, and then it'll have the tendency to drop. Elroy Face had a great
I think. Foul ball.
That could have been it.
You know how the great fork ball threw it very hard.
I told you, Elroy Face had one. Who are you talking about?
Don Gullett before the arm went.
Elroy Face had as good a forkball as I ever saw, and he could throw it hard.
He could sing, too.
Looks like he might be throwing it this time. Whatever it was, it worked. He strikes out Randolph. The Milwaukee Brewers battle back. They win the ball game by a score of 5-3 and stay alive in the Eastern Division playoff series of the American League. The line score in the ball game 5-9-0 for the Brewers, 3-8-2 for the Yankees. Fingers gets the win. John takes the loss. Simmons and Molitor had home runs for Milwaukee. The Brewers battle back, and Game 4 will be played here tomorrow. We'll be right back after this message and a word from our local station. Final score, Milwaukee 5, New York 3, Game 4 tomorrow. Yankees lead the series 2-1.